Eagles go to Tampa Bay, surprisingly, and play the Baker-led Bucs. Eagles have been one of the more polarizing stories as we head into the postseason. They went 1-5 their last 6 games. It seems like there's been a total breakdown of this team, especially in the locker room. They've been dealing with injuries. Devontae Smith was out last game. A.J. Brown got hurt with a knee injury. He's expected to be fine, but I don't know how much I'm believing that. It looks pretty bad. We'll see come Sunday. And Jalen Hurts just doesn't look himself. So I'm very curious to see which version of the Eagles that we get heading into this game. There's certainly a lot going on mentally for this team. We'll see. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on it too. But we talk about the Bucs as well. Just totally shocked how they got here. I can't believe that this division actually has a team that's made it to the playoffs. I mean, it's kind of gross, but the Bucs actually have a fighting chance.
They're kind of raw.
Win this game. Bucs are 2.5-point home underdogs as we enter the wild card weekend. The point total is sitting right around 44. So Baker and the Bucs, they just beat the Panthers last week 9-0 in a really, really ugly game. The offense couldn't get anything going. Not sure why, but I will say this: one thing you can do on the Eagles is generate some offense. Passing yards allowed per game, Philadelphia is 28th, but on the contrary, it also could be a potential get-right spot for the Eagles. Bucs are 30th in passing yards per game allowed. Both are top 10 teams in terms of rushing yards allowed. So the rushing game might have a little bit tougher time finding some success. But, you look at some of Rachaad White's numbers. He's not a good rusher. He's more so used and utilized best in the passing game. And the Eagles' run game is predominantly the tush push. DeAndre Swift was out last game. He would be a immense help to this team if he were to come back healthy this week. He adds a ton of value in the rushing game. He's been one of the best rushers in the league, in the NFC, in my opinion. So eyes on that as we head into Sunday. He could definitely be a game changer as well. So I'll save some more of the stats and stuff just to kind of get a vibe check from you as well. This team and the momentum that they've lost heading into the postseason compared to the Bucs and some of the momentum that they've gained. The Bucs being at home, a home underdog, as the Eagles come into this game struggling. Do you think they can win outright against a team that was just in the Super Bowl last year, a team that just started the season 10-1? Do you think they can pull off the improbable?
It's really amazing what has happened to the Eagles. And it's really unfortunate because they were in the same division as Dallas, so you knew one of them would end up being the 5 seed. But, I mean, the Eagles deserve to be the 5 seed. They play like shit for the last, 5 weeks. Yeah. And there's locker room problems. There's injury problems. Like, they already had the 5th seed locked up, right? And they, Hurts break his finger or something. I don't remember exactly what he did.
Dislocated it, and it was weird.
He dislocated his finger. A.J. Brown got hurt. Even if he plays, I was saying this last night in the national championship game when Washington's running back was playing, but he was obviously really injured. If you've ever tried to do anything on an injury, you can't, let alone play football. It's if they're going to trot him out there, he's going to be extremely limited. And I do think that you can throw on both these defenses, and I think there's going to be a lot of points scored.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think that the Eagles are just in a downward spiral, and the Bucs are going to win. I do think they can win.
That's interesting that you bring that up, because here's what I want to note out. The model has Philadelphia -1. Philadelphia winning, but by 1 point. Right around 24-23. It also thinks there's going to be a little more points scored than what Vegas expects. So that's interesting that you said that there's going to be points scored. The passing games, the defensive passing games on both sides of the ball open up this huge hole and opportunity for each team to capitalize. So if the Bucs offensive line can hold up against this Eagles defensive front, they can absolutely exploit the secondary and have a field day. You know, they have
Bucs. Good.
They have two of the best receivers in the game when, you know, push comes to shove.
The Bucs should not run the ball one single time.
Honestly,
why would you? Why would you? Just like Michigan should have ran the ball every single time last night. Like, they couldn't stop it, and they won't be able to run at all.
Yeah.
I do not think they will. I don't think the Eagles are going to either, really. So, give me 45 dropbacks from each quarterback, please. Please.
Yeah. I like the over. I'm normally not an over-under guy. I just don't find like as much success in that as I do with just team totals and stuff like that. But yeah, I think there's an absolutely more ways in which this game hits the over than it does the under. Yep. And I think for the Eagles, my concern is if they don't have Devontae Smith or AJ Brown out there, then it's going to be really Dallas Goedert, really old Julio Jones, Olamide Zaccheaus. And so if they don't have one of their two 1A, 1B guys trotting out a receiver, they're going to have a hard time putting up points. But if they do, then I expect them to also shred the Bucs secondary, and I think we're going to have a shootout. So Philadelphia -1 from the model, it's seemingly right because it also takes in momentum as well. So it sees the downward spiral that Philly has had from the start of the season up until now. It also takes into account some of this. Philly, offensive EPA allowed, 29th overall in the league, Bucs 18th overall in the league. So the Bucs have a better performing defense in terms of EPA. Offensive EPA, Philly 8th, Bucs 14th. So all signs are pointing to the offense, as much as both have looked kind of grotesque as of late. So give me points, man. And I think that the Bucs can cover and even win outright themselves. I'm going to oppose you. I think Philly does pull this one out. I think one of the top dogs on the wide receiving core ends up playing, and that's their avenue to winning this game. But I think the Bucs keep it close, 100%. 100%. So,
do you think they still win if only one of them plays?
Yes.
Dude, if you give me healthy Mike Evans and healthy Godwin and healthy Baker and healthy Rashad White versus a Hurts. That's funny. Not super healthy DeAndre Swift, and then number 1 and number 2 receiver that are hurt. Like, what? Just give me the Bucs, okay? Just please.
Yeah. I mean, it's fair, and I think what it really boils down to is I like the Eagles' trenches a lot better in this game, more so than I do the Bucs' offensive and defensive line. I think that the Eagles' defensive line has game-changing potential when they turn it on. I think they can flip the script on its head at any given moment. And then, of course, the Eagles' offensive line, they've been banged up, but led by Jason Kelce, they're one of the better units in the league. So, it very well could go in favor of the Eagles if this offensive line decides to toss around some of the Bucs' defensive line. So that's really kind of what it boils down to for me, all things considered. So I think the Eagles can turn it around and figure it out in the locker room and come out here and beat the Bucs in a close one. It's going to be fun, though. And it is at the Bucs. So good for the Bucs. Good for the Bucs.